Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's FPV Podcast. This week, we're going a little bit into the digital world. We have somebody on who's been around the drone business for quite a while. He's definitely got a lot to share. If you're interested in the DRL Simulator, definitely listen. And also, listen all the way to the very end. We got some good stuff to give away. So, before we introduce our guests, Elvin, what do you got?
Hey, everybody. Hope you guys out there having a great time. Enjoy life, everybody. This is that time of the year to enjoy your time with your families and make sure you reach out to the people in your neighborhood that family might not be around, because those people need interaction too. Peace, love, and happiness, baby.
Peace, love, and happiness.
Snoop Dogg.
This is the podcast. Man, listen to you. Okay, this is the podcast before Christmas, so we'll have to endure Elvin for a little bit. Nelson, can you please introduce yourself?
Hey guys, what's up? My name is Nelson Aquino, aka Cruel. I go by that online and just in the race when I used to race. I'm not even a racer anymore. I can't even say that. Yeah, I work for DRL. I work on the simulation side as a developer and verifier of physics and QA and anything that needs to be done on the sim, along with our great team over there. So that's me.
Oh, there you go. He's got quite a lot to share over on the DRL side. But before we get into all of that, how did you get into FPV?
Coincidentally enough, through a simulator.
That's awesome.
Actually, I saw the video from France that everybody saw with Herb and all them going through the forest, and obviously I was like, holy crap, nerded out. How do I do this? I'm gonna get into it. Started looking around, got a Hubsan X4, and then I got a simulator called Real Flight, and that's by Great Plains. And now it's Horizon Hobby, I think, because they bought a Hobby Go. But so I got that simulator. I still use my Interlink Elites right here. It's always next to my desk. And I started flying that, and they had a 250 drone model that was absolutely terrible, but it was the only thing that was out there. This was before Freerider came out. Like Freerider was just about to come out when this was out. So I practiced on that for a month and a half, and then I went and bought a Vortex from Immersion RC. I bought a bunch of Vortexes, actually. I had like 6 of them.
Whoa! Wow!
Yeah, because I wanted to fly. I didn't care if I broke it. I wanted next. I just wanted to get stick time in. But in reality, because of the simulator, I didn't need that much. I didn't need that many because I didn't really wind up breaking so many because I was already knew how to fly. That's how I got into it.
Shelf queens.
Yeah. Well, now I still put them through their paces. Once you start pushing and racing, and you still break stuff, but in the beginning, it wasn't that painful. And that's kind of what my mantra was.
Okay.
So that was in early 2015, like February 2015.
Yeah, that was the early times. So did you get into like just flying around freestyle, or did you commit straight to racing?
Straight to racing. That was I'm not a freestyler at all. I see it. People express their feelings in the air, but I'm a racer. I like to race. I like the competition. I like the camaraderie that comes from it, and trash talking and all the stuff that goes along with it. I like it. So I went straight to racing. I have a video that is like, oh, I learned to fly acro. Okay, let's go through a gate. That was the next step right there. Like, let's go. So yeah, it's definitely racing.
There you go. Competition is in your blood. And obviously, as a person that's very well known in the community, the racing has always been, a passion for a lot of pilots. Now, you took it a step further because you actually joined the MultiGP ranks in order to actually help improve what they're doing over there. How did that go all about?
Yeah, I mean, when we started, I live in Miami in Florida. So when we started, my MultiGP was just really just based in Florida. They had a couple of chapters here or there, but they had like 500 members or something like that. I mean, now they have like 30,000 or something crazy. When we started, it was very, very local, and Chris Thomas was going around to all the local races. He came down to Miami before I even started flying. He came down to Miami and talked to them, and I got so involved with it. And I'm the type of person that if I want to, like, if we're racing, I want it to go smooth as well. Like Sean said in the previous podcast, is you kind of become a race director. Like you want to make it go well. You want to make it, you don't want to spend 4 hours out there to fly 2 packs. Like you want to knock it out. So I started becoming a race director, and then I wound up running the 2016 regional finals in Florida, and it was production. We raised a bunch of money for that event. I flew Joe Scully down. I flew FPV Live down. Chris came, and Chris, I think, kind of saw that and said, hey, like, you're really good at this, or the sales part and talking to people and doing whatever, come join the team. And I had just was getting fed up with my normal job. So I was like, okay, let's do it. Like, opportunities like that don't come so often. So I just talked to the wife and I said, hey, I'm going to do this. And she was like, all right, go ahead. I trust you. So
supportive wife, guys.
Yeah, sometimes later on down the story, it got a little rough. It got a little rough down the line, but we stuck with it and we're doing good now.
So, what was your role in MultiGP? Was it just purely business, trying to get in, sponsors and sales and just promotions?
Mainly, yeah. It was. I think Chris had a saying there, like, everyone's a janitor there. So whatever needed to be done, if the toilet needs to be cleaned, Chris will clean it, or I'll clean it, or Hefty will clean it, or whoever, is there has to do it. So, but mainly, yeah, that was the main thing that I was doing was sponsorship and sales, race production too with Joe whenever we got together. And I designed all the tracks from Chris did the 2015 national championships because I wasn't working for him then, but from 2016 onward, it was between myself and Chris and Joe and Hefty, and I would design the tracks on the set.
Okay. And, between 2016 and all the way through 2018, MultiGP has put on quite a many large events. The regional finals have become a thing. Their championships have always been really, they've kind of been record-breaking in their own rights because they've always tried to push the limits of it. Sometimes it doesn't work out, but, you got to try, right?
Yeah. No, definitely. Those guys, as always, hats off to them. They always try to push the limits for the pilots and try to get as many people participating as possible. So
yeah, definitely. And one of the things that I do want to touch upon, because you've already kind of said it, was that we all love this hobby, this sport, this industry, but it's really hard to make a living on this. And I think it's really homing true in 2018 as reality starts to set in. For you to actually continue to do this, you went through some rough times. Do you care to tell us a little bit about that? Because it takes a lot of dedication to be still doing this and then be successful, which is congrats on that.
Thanks. It is rough. I think part of the problem was that there was this huge explosion of interest when it comes to FPV. And then you had a lot of people that were, and this is where it can kind of get dirty, but like I told you in the beginning before we even started, I don't have a filter. So you have people that came into it that didn't know what they were doing, that didn't know how to run races, that didn't put the pilots first. I'm a firm believer in putting the race before the show, not the show before the race. I've always kind of believed in that. So you had guys that came in that were just looking at dollar signs and didn't care about anything else. And it put us in a really bad spot. Racing overall, obviously DRL is on a whole other different level, and they've got an incredible staff and talent over there to do what they do. But for mostly everybody else, outside of maybe DCL right now, it's been rough because it was just all sponsors. And TBS and Immersion RC and those guys, they don't have the millions and millions and millions of dollars to throw into it. Even though I will say, like, a guy like Trappy has thrown in to drone racing, and Tony K from Immersion, Serge from Puro Flip, Get FPV, was bouncing around. Now they're coming back into it. Those guys have thrown into drone racing, understanding that it's not just about what return I'm going to get for my investment if I advertise at a drone race. It's about if I invest into drone racing, it will continue to grow. Therefore, I will start getting some of that market back. Growing the market is not necessarily like point to a metric saying, okay, I should spend money here. So they understand that stuff. So again, kudos to them for continuing to support drone racing. But yeah, that was pretty much the gist of how it is now. Like people are saying that it's dying out. I don't think it's dying out. It's just correcting itself. There's still growth. It's not like there's still people coming into it. It's not 100 people a day like it used to be. But at the same time, it's not one or more people leaving that are getting started. I still think it's growing, just not as fast as people would like it to or used to.
Yeah, I'll say this right here. Yesterday, on Amazon. There was a Vortex 180 for $50, $40.
I saw that. I'm so pissed I missed that. I would have bought like 10 of them.
Like,
we sold them.
They had like 400.
Wow.
They were gone in 3 hours. Like, soon as everybody realized what was going on, there was no more.
Yeah, that little machine's awesome.
Yeah, so I mean, you know, people were jumping like catfish in the river. You know what I mean?
No, for $40, that's a steal, man. That's like 2 batteries.
Right.
For $40, yeah, I would have bought I would have bought like 10 of them.
I was mad. I'm still mad.
Yeah, I missed it. I'm pretty pissed off too. I saw that. I do have one that Tony K gave me himself, so I'll
a good one.
That one there. Yeah, that's a good one. I haven't even touched it. Like, I don't want to crash it.
There you go. Now, moving on, because obviously you are in DRL now. How did that transition happen? Because obviously you've done great work for MultiGP. You know, you've actually grown that organization from really small to a nationally, almost internationally known organization at this point. So kudos to everybody who, you know, went in there and participated in growing MultiGP. How was the transition to DRL? How did that happen?
Well, yeah, I like you were going to say I grew. I didn't. I think the whole team over there was instrumental in making that happen. They're so dedicated. I don't think people have an idea, and they get a lot of stuff online. I was going to curse, sorry. They get a lot of stuff online, and people criticize them, and every decision that they make, it gets torn apart, and it's really not fair because those guys put in a metric ton of work. Like, they are super dedicated to it. Chris is incredible. So again, I can't take enough time to say that they're very dedicated. But I was glad to be a part of that growth with them. So to answer your question, pretty much I was working with MultiGP. This was about a year and change ago, and because I was just on the phone getting sales done, dealing with all the stuff and rules and talking about doing International Open and Sebring and all these other events that are going on, I really didn't have time to fly. Like, I really didn't have time to race. So what do you do when you can't go outside and, 9 o'clock at night and you want to get something done? You know, you pick up the sim. And that's kind of, I was always really competitive on the sims, but that's when I kind of really stepped it up and I started, doing a lot of stuff on Velocidrone, which kudos to those guys for all the stuff they're doing in Liftoff, like getting on the leaderboards and just like, that was kind of my side hustle. That was my, I want to make a name for myself kind of there. So I started doing that. And I won a tournament for Rotor Rush when they paid for me to go to England to compete, which was right after a hurricane, right before Nationals last year. So that was a crazy time. I did all that. And Ryan Gurry, which I have a funny story about him and how we started talking originally. But he kind of said, hey, you want to do like some freelance work? I need some help with the physics and how the game is feeling and just get your input with it. This was the previous tryouts, which I actually competed in. So I couldn't go all the way in and help with the development because I was a competitor. It wouldn't have been fair. So, we did some quick tuning and quick fixes and verified it with a couple of guys. It was never perfect. It's still not perfect. That kind of started that relationship there. So then the following year, like, they are doubling down on the sim. They're like, we really want to grow this out. We want to see how far we can take it. Getting conversation with them. That time of the year was coming up again for tryouts. And say, hey, I need your help again. And I was like, okay, cool. And it kind of became more of a longer term thing. And we kind of just both agreed, like, maybe you should just join the team. And I was like, well, I'm with MultiGP now, so I'm going to have to. He's like, well, I'm going to kind of have to pick and choose. This is a full-time gig with it. And at that point, I decided, like, all right, I'm gonna give this a shot. Obviously, they have a very well-funded organization, and there's a lot of stability. I have a family and kids and a house and all these other things that it's, there were times that was in peril, like, because you have to, I got to make this sale for sponsorship and, so we can make this happen and, put this race on and I can pay bills. But people have to do this if they want, they got to pay their bills if they want to do this full time. when it came to that, then I decided to do the stuff with DRL, and it's been an incredible experience since. I mean, to know, like, it's one thing to watch it on TV, but it's another thing to know what goes into it. That's the stuff that you're like, holy crap, like these guys are serious about what they're doing.
Definitely. Yeah, we've heard some stories, and yeah, I agree with you. I think that's the correct move. They obviously have quite a lot of backing, and they actually really want to grow this to a really big sport, which is something that's really awesome. And, you know, kudos to you for, you know, this is how you do it, right? You know, you go in there, you help out, you volunteer, and eventually that relationship grows into something a little bit more solid. And now, you know, you're in the big leagues, as I like to say.
Yeah, I mean, that was just and I mean to cut you off, but I just wanted, like, another thing that's really important to me, that it's kind of a thing that was put into me from the MultiGP aspect, is when we grow the sport. That's why I got involved with MultiGP too. I want to see what this looks like if there were millions of people doing it. And obviously, again, that was another factor with DRL. It's like, how can I personally impact this to help grow it and help shape it and mold it into something that millions of people do? So the simulators, obviously, for me, it's a big gateway entry point into it. That's, I would think, the most viable entry point into it, as compared to anything else. So yeah, that was another factor of saying that, you know, I should definitely do this. So.
Yeah, I agree, because, you know, esports has a tie-in to kind of, you know, digital drone racing, I guess. Is that what you call it? I don't know. Simulator drone racing, right? So
sports, same thing. It's esports.
Yeah, and, you know, that has a huge market. So having people that might be interested in video games try out the DRL Simulator, which might eventually, you know, get them interested in flying real drones, I definitely think that's a great tie-in to all of this stuff. And, you know, it's kind of interesting to see, you know, where this grows, because, you know, we do see it. We do see DRL really trying to make these simulators into, like, something really big. You know, having, like, all of us here have played simulators, and we all try different ones because everybody argues which one's more realistic or which one feels the best. Like, as a person who's actually been back there trying to make all this work, like, what's up with that? Is it like just math, or is it physics, or is it just what's going on?
So, I mean, like I said, I will be the first person, and we are the team. We are hugely self-critical as to how things are supposed to be and how things are supposed to feel and fly. So there's different aspects of it, right? There's, number one, it's subjective. So Elvin might think that Velocidrone flies great because it mimics his personal experience of what he thinks it should fly like. While Y might say, well, no, I like DRL better or Liftoff better because it mimics my personal experience of how my quad flies. You can't win that battle. You can't win. There's going to be always people that it's going to think that feels great or horrible or okay or whatever. What I tell people is fly all of them. They all have something to offer. You know, they each have their strengths and they each have their weaknesses. And if you're good at all of them, and then it helps your flying in real life, because you can start adapting quickly to any situation. If it's windy outside or whatever, or you're flying a different quad, if you're flying a spec race and they invite you, hey, come fly the Hawk 5, like Emax did an invite-only race. You're not going to be freaking out because it's not your quad. It's not going to fly like your quad. You have to tune the sim to fly like your quad. So that is a huge battle that that we're fighting. But obviously I'm biased. But DRL is going to go through it. I mean, like I said, they are putting some serious effort and thought and dedication and money behind winning that battle as much as possible. And what do I mean by that? We started tuning physics. I started tuning physics pretty much in my front yard. Flying the quad, recording it, comparing it, that only got you so far. There's other aspects of the game also that it's hard. Like you have to tune the graphics. They also want it to look good. So they have to find a balance there. And when it comes to physics processing in a computer, that is king. You have to have as many frames per second as possible, so then the quad feels fluid through the air and what you're doing. That's like phase one, right? Now they're like, that was not enough. now we're going to step it up a notch. They got a contract with Georgia Tech, which is the school that Wild Willie goes to, which happens to be home to one of the leading aerodynamicists, the aerodynamic engineers in the world. This doctor from Georgia Tech has created a drag model that it's easy. Oh, how do I show you guys this? It's science time, guys. I'm sorry. It's easy.
Science!
It's easy to let's say this is my battery, right? It's easy to model drag going this way. Okay, this is the surface area. This is the coefficient. Boom, that's your number. You're done. Okay, this is the surface. Boom, that's it. But when the quad is doing this and moving around and flipping around through the air, all that changes. So what they developed was an unsteady drag model, and we are the first company in the world and they work for Boeing. They've done stuff for real big time simulation scenarios, and we're the first company in the world to implement that into the simulator. So everybody's right now, the biggest things that we're hearing about the DRL sim is that all the quads fly like crap except for the Racer 3, because the Racer 3 is the only one that has that unsteady drag model implemented. Right now, we're in the process of implementing all the other frames. So we're doing 3-inch, 4-inch, 5-inch, and 6-inch frames. And we send them each individual frame, the files for the frames. We work with the manufacturers. We send that file to Georgia Tech. They do their simulation test on it, and they send us back the data, and we take that data and we plug it into the sim. To go back to the root of the question, the subjectiveness is what you think about it or what I think about it is irrelevant. When I say gravity is 9.81 meters per second squared, that's what it is. When you put it in the simulation, that's what it should be. And you shouldn't be playing around with gravity or doing all these things. Obviously, we have all those knobs too.
Right.
So if you want to mess with it, you can, but you shouldn't have to. You shouldn't have to touch any of that stuff. So we're fighting that. We're taking a very scientific approach to it. The other thing that we did, which is not even out there yet, and this is kind of a teaser for you guys, is we went to a motion capture studio and we captured the drones flying around in 3D space. And we're going to match that to the sim without any user input. Like I flew the drones inside the space. We're going to take the black box, put it in the sim and say, fly it. And it should match. So we're taking those kinds of approaches to it. So it's like, even if you think it feels a certain way, well, no, this is what it is. Like, here's the map. Here's the science. Here's the page. And we're going to release all of it. We're going to put it all out there. And we'll release the source code and say, here, this is what it is. So, I mean, they're very, like I said, they're very, very, very dedicated and very committed to making it the best possible sim it can be. Not only because it's the way it should be, but at the same time, we want to engage the public. So we're concerned about the community as well, because obviously it's the community, but we want to make it a gateway for the public to continue to grow that community. Right. So they're very involved and they're very invested into making the simulation successful.
All right, that is an awesome answer because you're really talking about some
long.
Yeah.
Sorry.
You're talking about some
I told you we're going 2 hours. We're going in.
We understand what you're talking about. You know, a lot of things where people there's so many sims out right now. You know, people gravitate to whatever they think feels acceptable or is close to what they flying now. You know, like nobody really sits down and goes, okay, I'm going to learn how to use this sim. I'm going to learn how to set it to what my quad feels like, right? Nobody really does that. And everybody just, oh, yours flying better. Give me your settings, you know?
Yeah.
And that's not really.
A lot of the question I got sometimes was, oh my God, how are you flying so good? I'm
right.
Like stock. Like I'm not touching anything. That's it. Like I made my video on Velocidrone for the previous Nationals track. We made the preview and they're like, look at the stick. How are they flying so good? Stock settings, dude. I just adjusted to how it flew. It looks so good. And it's the same thing with all the other sims. So you're
right. And that's what I was trying to get to. It's relative to you, the pilot, right? And really the system that you're on too, because that has a major factor, right?
Sure.
So people are really strenuous when they're looking at, I like this one over that one, this and that. But really, it's just something so that you can get fluid, right? Some memory.
The movements are the same.
Right. The movements are the same. It's just you need to learn how to fly the ship in that sim. And once you learn how to do that, then you can master the sim or master your skill level in the sim.
Yeah.
You know?
Stick time.
And people are like that with a lot of stuff in the hobby. The first lesson that I learned from this was I was looking at a video. I was flying my Vortex. I had dual blades on. And the triple blades, the HQ had just released those triple blade props. And, you know, they had just come out and people were talking about them, whether it felt good or not. And what a lot of people do is they'll go on YouTube and they'll look up a YouTuber that they look at. And at that point, I was looking at HPI guy, which I think he still flies. And I was looking at him and he was like, I don't like these props. And then I was like, I don't like these props either. Never tried them. Never saw them. Never did anything with them. I just, well, he said they were bad. This one must be bad. So it's the same thing with the sim. You should go out and figure it out yourself. Like there's a lot of people out there that also, they're just haters. They don't like DRL. They don't like the show. They don't like whatever aspect of it, whatever it is, for whatever reason, and they're entitled to that. But then I go up to them. I'm like, hey, dude, when's the last time you tried the sim? It's garbage. It's garbage. It's terrible. When's the last time you tried it? 8 months ago? I'm like, dude, like we've redone the whole sim since then. Can you go try it? Yeah. They'll go try it and they'll be like, hey, this is not that bad. I'm like, I know. That's the whole point. That's what I'm trying to tell you. So, I mean, it's a battle either way. But like I said, the approach that we're taking is very, we want to engage the community. We want to show people that we are trying to give back to it. And I'll get into more of that stuff later. But go do your own research is the point of that whole spiel. Go figure it out, try them all, master them all, because there's guys out there that do it and they're not.
Stay open.
Staying open. Now, I will say, though, one thing that I think, this is just subjective to me, but it's actually really difficult sometimes to figure out when you guys actually do a massive overhaul, because when most people do it in a video game, they usually put like 2 or 3 or something. Like when you guys do that massive thing, it's like, well, unless somebody tells me, I actually don't know.
FAB, like what's the difference in this version? We're changing that too. That's the next version that's coming out. We're going from 2 to 3 now. It's before it was like 2.1.4 A, B, C, D, F. This is the version, and everybody's like, what? No, the next version that we're doing, the next big release is 3.0.
3.0.
This is a third iteration, third time's the charm.
All right, there we go. But, you know, I really love your approach. You know, just use science and let science tell them, like, this is how it really should feel because it's science, okay? If we're trying to mimic real physics here, then we should just use real physics and just leave it at that.
Yeah, there's a lot of you're gonna have to take shortcuts. There's not enough computing power in your personal computer to replicate every single molecule of air. And doing rotary prop physics is difficult enough on just a helicopter. Now you're adding 4 of them and changing directions and velocities instantly. So it's a whole nother level of complexity when it comes to that. So yeah, but I mean, definitely we're going to try to not take as many shortcuts as possible, if that makes any sense. We want to make sure that as many things that we can correlate to real life, we do that. Like we've done over 5,000 bench tests. We've grabbed this prop, this battery, this motor, and we test it. We take the data from the bench and we put it straight into the sim. That's the thrust, that's the torque, that's the RPM. That's all directly from a bench test. Then we take that same combination that was on 3S, now we do it on 4S, on 5S, and we're going to go all the way up to 10S. We're up to 5S right now, but we're going to go all the way up to, I think 10S, the next step is obviously 6S, but I think we're even trying to see if we can go all the way up to 10S. So we're going to repeat all of those tests with all the props, and all the motors, you know, every single battery combination, and that goes straight into the sim. So that's all real data. So you have real powertrain, the real weight, the real drag. I mean, I don't know what else I can do, man. Yeah. I don't know what else I can do when it comes to that stuff. But I mean, we're definitely,
Now, I've gotten a chance to play. We've had a few sim parties there were Christmas parties that turned into sim parties, to be honest with you, because we're competitive at heart.
Yeah.
And I will say, though, a lot of people do like the DRL sims. And it's one of those things where we can actually discernibly show or tell that they're putting effort into it, right? I mean, if you actually keep up with the different updates, you can tell that they're putting a lot of effort into it, and you should recognize that. And if you don't like something, is there a way, like, hold on, let me qualify this. If you don't like something, do it constructively. Like, you know, like, is there a way they can provide feedback in a constructive manner, not just like bitch?
Absolutely. We owe no. I mean, any feedback, whether it's bitching or constructive feedback, we are paying attention to it because, like I said, we really want to engage everyone with this. We want to get everybody to get behind it, and obviously, we know that we have to earn that. It's not like just, hey, let's get in line, do this. No. Like, we know that we have to make a good product, but at the same time, yeah, we take everyone's feedback. Like, Ryan Guri, I don't know if you guys have ever had him on here, but he is a pit bull when it comes to this stuff. Like, he gets that idea in his mind, and this needs to be done, and we need to be excellent at it, and he does not let that go. And he drives really, really hard for that engagement, and we really do want to earn that. So, yeah. That's we do want to. You can do it on Facebook. You can reach me on Facebook. You can email me. You see me at a race, pull me over, tell me this is garbage, fix this, or we need to fix this, or how do we do this? And I will engage in that conversation with you and figure it out. And either letting you know, hey, it's already been done. This is what you need to do it. Or, hey, that's a really good idea. Or if it's not a good idea, I will tell you why it's not a good idea. It's not just like, shut up, I don't want to hear it. It's, listen, we can't really put in, laser beams on the quads at this point because of this, And we'll try to do something like that. But
I thought that was happening next week.
Yeah. I mean, I'll let you know why at least. But if it's a good idea, there's been a lot of things that we put into the game that people will just say, hey, maybe you guys should do this. And we're like, that's a really good idea. Let's do it. There's definitely ways to do that. And even in the game, there's a help button. You can go on Steam and write it in the discussions and post your stuff on there. We answer that stuff every day. Like, we're on it every day, all day.
Nice. Okay. So obviously you talked a little bit about, obviously the pilots are important because they're the ones playing it, but you also want to use this as a way to generate interest in the community, the sport, and all that. Like, is there a plan on how the simulator is going to do that? Like, there's like a spectator mode, or there's a way in which like spectators can participate? What's the plan there?
Well, right now we have the most spectator slots in any sim, as far as I know. Somebody, I'm sure, will correct me if I am wrong. Right now you can join a race and there's 15 spectator slots. So you can have 6 racers and 15 spectators. So we're in the middle of, and we also stream this on Twitch. Like Tony Canoodle, I don't know if you guys have had him on.
I know who Canoodle is.
Yeah, so Canoodle and FPV, which is another sim pilot who is very awesome, and he's one of the guys that just joined the team as far as the sim and doing design and marketing stuff. They stream every single day on Twitch. Oh, I talked about that too. We're doing tournaments every week too on Twitch. Well, but I'll get to that in a second.
Okay. So much going on, guys.
There's a lot.
Awesome. Like, go ahead and tell us a little bit about what's going on recently, because obviously we know there are some contests going on. Go ahead and catch us up to date.
Yeah, Tristan just won, right?
Yeah, Tristan just won one.
Yeah, so that's another way. That's the other community part of what we're doing, right? And I didn't quite answer the question that you said before about how we're trying to help this with the community, with streaming every day and getting people involved. We also have a full training module on the sim, so people that don't know how to fly can go in and they hit train, and it takes them to like these little mini games where they can start getting the gist of flying, right? So I just wanted to hit that point for the previous question. But as far as the contest that we have going on, so obviously we have the tryouts. That's the big one. That's the one we're going to Vegas, and everyone qualifies for. And it's the first time that they've opened it up to more than 24 people. We're opening up to as many people that want to show up and qualify on site, and then compete for the contract. But again, part of the plan of doing community engagement is we're hosting weekly races. So we're hosting week tournaments. We've already given away 2 or 3 Racer 3s, which it's like it's a Racer 3, but they're like I saw them sell for like $1,500. You know, somebody bought one. They were selling them on Facebook for like $1,600 for a Racer 3.
Did it come with a radio?
No, it's just a Racer 3.
Damn.
Yeah, because I mean, you don't. People want what they can't have.
Yeah, they're rare.
True that.
So you can't get your hands on it. You can't buy it in stores anywhere. You either earn it as a pilot, winning the trials, or if you get lucky enough to buy one online.
Or if I catch a Kirk in the corner somewhere sleeping,
I mean, just grab one of his, take his away. He doesn't need him anymore.
He don't need him anymore.
No. We've given away we gave away a free paid trip to Vegas. So the people, like, if you won that, you get your hotel and your flights paid for to come to Vegas.
By the way, I haven't got my tickets yet. You know.
Oh, I'll get right on that. Let's see. Well, there's a tournament next week. I just sent you a code for The Sims, so you gotta get to work.
That was a good one.
You gotta earn that, buddy.
All right.
You gotta get to work.
I'll put in the work.
All right. You got a lot of work to do. Next tournament's on the 10th. So,
how many more? Do you know how many more tournaments there's going to be?
Oh, we have two more. Before the big one. Yeah, no. That's it. We're done for the year. The next one's going to be January 10th, and then a week after that, which is I think the 17th, is the next two online tournaments that we have. But we're going to continue to do them.
Mm-hmm.
This was just the initial, this was our exploratory, let's find out how people react to it. It's been great. We've gotten, a lot of people watching the stream, and all the numbers are great. Like I said, we have investors in the background that they just look at that kind of stuff. So that's, they're very impressed with that. So yeah, we're going to keep doing them. We're going to try to get more resources behind them if people support it and get behind it, if people start playing it and we see a growth in that, they're going to want to throw more and more resources behind it. So that's the plan. Even after tryouts, we have a plan to continue to do them, especially after we release all the new physics and have prizes. If it were up to me, we're going to try to have them every week or every 2 weeks with a big prize, not like $50. We'll see.
Hey, you know what? You heard it here, folks. Time for you to get serious about your simming. Although, like, every pilot that I know that is a true racing pilot, they've been sim grinding on DRL for quite a while now. So
yeah, it's a $75,000 contract. It's not as that's like life-changing stuff.
Yeah, it's nothing to laugh at. Like pilots that I know that are like, it's like, you know what? In the sim, it's just another ball game. I'm gonna go for it. And it's like, yeah, just go for it. And it's like,
and I mean, but people get the same things in the sim. You see people with the shaking, nervous, and they're like breathing heavy on the stream. People like breaking down and crying, like, "Oh my God, I can't believe I just did." Like, it's the same feeling because it's the same thing on the line. So it is. If you want to practice,
never shakes.
Yeah, I want to see you race for $75,000. It's the finals. It's the finals. You're sitting there. Everything's on the line.
I will say.
That's why you're not shaking, because he's dead.
I tell you what, hey, anytime you're competing for something on the line, your nerves will get in the way. It's always how it is. I agree with everybody else. It's like that $75K is life-changing. If you want to be known as a drone racing pilot, I should see you sim grinding right now, along with everybody else in the drone racing community. Because, and besides, it's Vegas. Come on. You want to go out, just hang out anyways.
Yeah, it's going to be a party, man. We just released, it just went out today, I think. Well, it depends on when you guys air this, but it went out today. We're going to have, like, Rotor Riot there. Steel's going to be there. Trappy's going. We're going to have Tiny Whoop flying at the actual event, and it's the weekend of the MultiGP championships. As you can see, DRL and MultiGP are starting to work together now on different things, and that kind of goes back to the point where I was talking about. If we see the growth, if we see people getting involved, then that kind of starts trickling down. People are like, oh, DRL, they have so much money, and this is such a huge thing, and they don't think about us. Well, now they do. It's a business, and they have some real talented business people, and they're not just gonna be like, yeah, give MultiGP $10 million. This is what we want to do. Give it to they have investors they have to answer to. But now they're like, okay, now it's this time. Now we're going to start David Roberts calls it the dance. They're not getting married; they're dating. They're starting to dance. Okay, so it's they're starting to dance. Okay, let's get involved with the championships. DRL is sponsoring the championships. They're the title sponsor for this year's championships for MultiGP. MultiGP is in turn working with them to we put all the tracks on the sim. We're gonna have the championship track on the sim since I'm the one that designs the tracks anyway. So I'm going to put them on the sim, trying to grow that connection between the community, which is the grassroots MultiGP, and, DRL, which is the DRL. Kind of comes full circle when it comes to that kind of stuff. So, yeah.
I think this is a match made in heaven because, it's the combining of two of the largest forces here in North America, and that's something we dearly need right now because we kind of need the two big players to work together to begin to start growing the community again, because we kind of got away from that a little bit because people were concentrating on like making things big instead of growing the community. So we need to get back to the core, start getting those pilots back in. I mean, we see a ton of young pilots, so we know it's growing.
Oh yeah,
and it's like, and so it's there. It's just that we need to concentrate and focus a little bit more on it. Of course, we'll be doing our part. Definitely check things out. In terms of what's going on in February in Las Vegas, have you guys I haven't seen the notice yet. Have you guys cemented a date in how the schedule is going to be, or is that going to be forthcoming?
No, the date is out there. Everything's out there already. The tournament is going to be. Hold on, let me pull it up because I don't want to give the wrong information. February 9th is the date of the tournament, and the way it's going to start like around 12-ish. Right now, the time is not really set in stone, but I think they're getting there. But it's going to be Saturday, February 9th. It's going to be, like I said, right in the middle of the MultiGP Championships. So pretty much the way it's going to work, it's that MultiGP is going to start on Thursday, I think. They're going to start their practice and, qualifying and all that stuff. Friday, the same thing. Saturday, they'll do it in the morning for a little bit. They cut it off. Everybody comes on over to the Luxor, to the esports arena at the Luxor. We do the tryouts, hang out, party, have a good time, crown the sim champion that day, and then the next day the MultiGP finals happen where they crown their champion, and that person's also getting a contract for the 2019 season. Pretty fun weekend for sure.
Okay, that sounds good. So the 9th is Saturday, so definitely there's going to be a lot going on in Las Vegas for drone racing stuff, so it'll be interesting. If you guys, anybody who's a drone racer, you should definitely attend that event because it's going to be a world first. And like Elvin always tells me, you should always go for the world first because you're never going to get a chance again. That's how it is.
Right. I mean, because it ain't going to happen again.
Well, hopefully this does, but it's not like Dubai.
No, I mean, what I mean is that the fact is that the first thing happens. Like he did the Mega Drone, and we were there. Then we went to Hawaii. I went to California in 2015, the first time. You know what I mean? Yeah. Those are the ones that, like, there's friendships I have from 2015 nationals that still continue today. That it was cemented then. And those are the, like, if you really look like at my friend pilots, the ones that I met then is the ones that we stayed the closest.
It's a special time, so there's nothing quite like the first time.
Right.
Yeah, it sounds like a love song.
Yes.
All right, now we have gone off track. We have gone off track. Okay.
Let me get that wig.
You're so funny. Okay. Anything that you could tell us a little bit in terms of like the future plans for the Sims or what the pilots can expect in February so that they can better prepare for it?
They should be preparing now is what I can say. And they are. There's guys, like I said, guys are putting in thousands and thousands of attempts on tracks like last year and the year before that. But this year is going to be a little bit different. It's not right now, it's subject to change because things have changed. We originally said that we were going to give out 3 contracts. And now, because of the way that they're planning out the next season, that's kind of in flux. And they've already notified all the pilots and notified everyone coming. The first place is definitely getting a contract. They're definitely getting $75,000 contract. And they had offered second and third place at the Sim a contract as well. but it's still in flux. It's not a no or a yes, but they wanted to kind of make sure that people set the right expectations. So if we don't give out the contracts because of the way the season is being planned next year, those second and third place are still going to get $15,000 each, and a racer 4, which is the next that's not even out yet. So, you know, it's at least, it's not a contract, but it's pretty substantial. But if they do decide to go with the contracts, then those guys will get them. So, you know, so it's kind of an either or maybe kind of deal, but it's going to be worth it no matter what. As far as the practice stuff goes and the formats, and it's going to be a new track. No one's ever flown it before. We're designing it in-house. So it's not going to be previously in the previous years, you would either fly on existing DRL maps, but now we have a map maker and a map editor, and we can go crazy and make whatever kind of tracks we want on the spot if we want to. So it's going to be an unknown track. So there's really nothing that's going to prepare you for the track, but you need to prepare in all the other aspects of your flying, your mental preparation, getting your nerves in check, being in front of the lights and cameras, being able to talk on camera. You know, all those things are important if you are planning. If you want to be a DRL pilot, those things are important as well. It's not just, I'm really fast. There's a lot of really fast guys out there. So, yeah, I mean, that's pretty much all I can say as far as getting prepared as a pilot is, you know, practice a lot, get used to flying the quad blindfolded because the track is going to be dope.
Hey, I just want to bring this up. You know, every sport has its good guys, its bad guys. You know, I'm willing to be a bad guy.
What you're saying is that you want to be a villain. Is that what you're saying?
I'll come in and be a villain.
You're saying I should tell Ryan, like, I have the perfect villain for the show.
Right here. I got the time. I can talk the smack. I can take it. And I can answer
gonna
right
throw
back.
his remote on the camera, like
I'll throw whatever y'all want. Ask. People know I know how to make a scene.
Yeah, I mean,
Elvin does not represent the opinions of this podcast.
He's gonna want it. I mean, I'm the same way, dude. So believe me, it's like I said, I really had no filter. That is a testament to how cool Ryan is, because when I first met Ryan, our first interaction was me cursing him out. That was our first interaction. That was me.
Wow.
2000.
No, that was no. So I live in Miami, right? They did the first DRL race in Miami.
Okay.
Right? So at that time, I was hardcore organizing, and I start seeing these posts online. Karate is like, "Oh, I'm on my way to Miami for a race," and Ron Richter, "I'm on my way to Miami for a race," and a bunch of other people. I'm hearing like these little murmurs, and I'm like, "Wait a minute, I'm not running a race in Miami is my town. I'm not running a race. What's going on?" And then we hear about, you know, this thing with DRL and they're doing a race. And I'm like, man, dude, what the hell? How are you going to come down to our town, run a race, and not even invite us to the race? Like, we went like, all the time. We were like, we were gonna go to the stadium and blast 2 milliwatts on something, mess up your day for not inviting us. We were just mad because we didn't understand what it was. Yeah, that was my first interaction with them. But after... And even after that, we had a lot of hate for what was going on because we didn't understand. We didn't understand what their plan was because they didn't show us all the cards right away. You know, the guys walking through the smoke with the colored guys, like, man, that's bad. But they've been evolving that and getting more to the roots of racing, and now it's cool. Now we're cool.
It took a little while. Hey, cool. Hey, kudos to Ryan, right? Like, you know, he stuck through it, made sure that he got the right people involved, and he's been doing well.
He's a pit bull. Like I said, he is tenacious when it comes to this kind of stuff. So he's not going to let this sim thing go until it's perfect.
Until it's perfect.
And that's a really tall order.
Impossible, in my opinion, because there's... Hey, you know what?
I told him, and he said there is no such thing. So that's what he wants. So that's what we're gonna.
All things is possible inside the mind.
There you go. Hey, I always say that you're not successful until you have a group of people working against you, because that's when you know you have made it. But
yeah, he's doing good.
Yeah. Now, obviously, for the DRL tryouts and MultiGP championships, first place for the Sims is going to get $75K and a contract that's already guaranteed, and that's permanent, right?
That's permanent.
That's permanent. And also, the MultiGP winner, as long as he's 21, will also get a contract. Is that still true?
18 and over.
18 and over. Sorry.
18 and over, and obviously not a previous DRL pilot.
Okay.
You know,
that makes sense.
So those are kind of the qualifying things. If for whatever reason that person cannot qualify, if they're flying for another league, or they don't want the contract, which I wouldn't imagine wouldn't, but if they, for whatever reason, if that person doesn't want it or can't have it or is not eligible, it will go to the next person.
Okay.
But
so
that makes sense.
Definitely getting dibs on that contract.
Okay, so if you go to Vegas, there's at least 2 chances that you can get a contract so far.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. If you're racing in Vegas with MultiGP and then coming to the tryout, which all the MultiGP pilots are automatically invited to. So there's a qualification thing that you have to do on the sim, which it's pretty easy to do. Almost anybody can do it. There's no excuse for not being able to complete the tryout part of it to actually qualify for the event. But MultiGP pilots are automatically invited because they're going to be there. We want them there. We want to have a big showing. So they're automatically invited to come to the trials.
Okay.
Let me call my friend Tanya Harding.
Yeah. You're gonna start not even hitting people in the knees. What are you gonna walk around?
No, you're gonna come by and smack and slam your finger in the door.
Yes. Oh, there you go. Slamming people's fingers in the door. That's a good one. I was just gonna slap people in the thumb with a pencil.
I haven't done that in a long time. You know, since I was a little kid, slam my finger in that door.
It's gonna be really weird though, as everybody's walking around like this, and there's 17 car doors with people's hands stuck in it.
Hey,
it's gonna be kind of weird, kind of a weird scene there.
Yeah.
Elvin wanted to be the bad guy. We already know this, so he's living up to his reputation.
The parking lot is just gonna have people just stuck to their cars. Oh, I can't get out.
I'll come in and do it like a WWE thing, you know. Where's Miss Elizabeth?
So for everybody who's listening, if you can, I would definitely recommend booking the Luxor on the 9th or maybe even the day before, so that you're already there. And you know, if you go all night, you'll at least have a bed in the same place that you started off with.
Yeah, we're definitely recommending people to come in the day before and leave the day after. You know, make a weekend of it, have fun, go watch both championships happen, and get to know everyone. There's going to be a lot of people there.
That's right. So seems like pretty much everybody's been invited, so the whole crew's there. We're going to be there, and we're going to be, we're going to be doing our podcast thing. We're definitely going to try to track down everybody, including this guy right here, because I am definitely going to drag him out to a live podcast, and I'm telling him to bring a Racer 4 because we want him to show us the Racer 4 on a live podcast.
Oh, I don't know about that. It's like I said, it's not. I haven't even seen.
Oh, come on!
I haven't. I saw like the outline of the frame, like a silhouette that was tantalizing, but I have not seen. I swear I haven't seen it. It's Ryan. That's Ryan's baby. Like I haven't even seen it. So
Ryan, secret sauce right there.
Yeah, secret sauce. I don't even know the specs. I don't know anything about it.
Well,
but.
Are you saying you're not going to unveil it in the DRL tryout championships? That'd be kind. I figured
that would be kind of. I'll ask. I don't know. I don't know how far along they are.
That's what I kind of assumed. I assumed you were going to unveil it there.
No, I don't. I haven't heard anything about that happening. But it's a really good idea. You see, constructive criticism. I will write this down and I'll go, hey Ryan, you know what would be a really good time to unveil the Racer 4 at the tryouts. That's why.
Yep, everybody's going to be there. You just told us everybody's going to be there. Why wouldn't you do it?
Yeah, I know. That's a really good point. I'm going to write it right now. I'm writing it right now.
I have a feeling that might happen, y'all. So y'all just be.
I don't know. I will not.
Blow it out of hand.
What's that, Alvin? Don't start no rumors, man. Because we're going to come after. Like, you said that we were going to do this, and we can't do this. You're fired. But
No, I don't want nobody to get fired.
No, don't start no rumors, man.
Yep. No rumors.
But I'll let
no
them know
rumors.
that's a really good idea. I mean, like I said, I think they're still in the middle of actually prototyping and producing them, to be honest.
I understand, yeah.
But I don't see why not, if it's ready, at least to show the shell or something. I don't know.
Yeah, concepts.
I'll ask Ryan. It'd be cool.
It would be cool. So the gist of everything for the last 20 minutes that we've been talking about is please show up for Las Vegas. Shout out to anybody. If you see me and Elvin, definitely come by, say hi. We would love to talk to all of you. And everybody at DRL and MultiGP are very happy and responsive to anything that you want to do. And
I will be there running around with my headset on.
And I'll be taking pictures.
As all the sim computers don't work.
Yeah, everything blows up. You know, people are having heart attacks. I'm going to be running around going crazy. So I'll be there.
By that time, I'll have my pocket-sized EMP done.
Yeah, there you go. That's what don't make me find you, Elvin. If you do that, I'll find you.
All right. All right. Last few questions before we start wrapping up. Obviously, you told us that the DRL 3.0 sim is going to be dropping soon. Any other kind of enhancements that you can share with us for the 3.0 that's going to be dropping out anytime? Do you know kind of when that's going to be happening?
It's going to be after tryouts.
Going to be after tryouts.
So we don't want to really mess with the physics or anything major to the game because people are actually practicing for a competition on it. And I think last year we did do that. Like we did it like in November, and the tryouts were in January, but we wound up changing stuff in November, and that wasn't good. So it's going to be after tryouts. We are making some updates to get ready for that, but it's just optimization and making sure everything's good, updating all the stuff to the latest and all that stuff. But it's not going to be any major changes to the game until after tryouts. But after tryouts, we have an entire roadmap of stuff for the next year. Yeah, it's planned out for like the next year. We definitely obviously want to win the physics fight first because everything else is based off of that. You know, we want to make sure that the physics is tight, that everybody's, you know, or mostly everyone can agree that it's good. And yeah, I mean, we want to win that fight first, so that's our focus. But after that's done in February, hopefully, then I mean, there's a lot of stuff that we have planned that I really can't give away because it's really special. And there's going to be some game changing stuff is, you know, that we want to do with the sim. After February, you'll start seeing a lot more, again, ramping up of updates and new features and a lot of new stuff that's not in any other simulator or anything else related to what we know as drone racing. So.
Okay, awesome. So definitely, at least if you don't have it now, definitely get it downloaded and keep track of all of the updates coming because it seems like DRL is definitely doubling down on it and it's going to be giving us a whole ton of new features. So that's definitely something at least to look forward to in 2019. Now, as for you, if anybody wants to give you suggestions, contact you, where can they best reach you on the internet?
Facebook is probably your best bet. I have an Instagram, which I don't even know the name of it because I just use it to look at pictures. I don't post pictures.
Right.
But Facebook is probably your best bet.
Like
is Nelson Aquino. If I'm on the MultiGP community, we have a Facebook group, the DRL Simulator. There's like two of them, but there's one that's like the official one, and it's called. Let me make sure I have the right name because they're different. So it's called Drone Racing League Simulator, all written out. There's another one that's like the words or the letters, but that's not the official one. So you can reach us on there, join that group. That's where we announce all the tournaments, we announce all the races, we announce, anything that's going on with the sim, any updates, definitely go on Facebook because it's easy for people. Everybody uses it anyway. And you can message me through Messenger on Facebook. On Instagram, it's just _cruel_. I'm on there as well, and I usually check, the pictures that are going on in DRL or any DMs. You can DM the DRL account, the actual Instagram account. We have people that do watch that, and if you have any feedback for the sim, it usually gets to us. Or you can email me directly, Nelson@drl.io, and I will answer your questions.
There you go. So any and all questions there?
I will find you. I'm just saying that now. I have a really good spam filter.
Okay, so if you want to give Nelson some feedback or give him some words of encouragement, there you go.
Yeah, well, you guys, I'm going to give you guys keys. I don't know if you guys own the simulator or not, so I'll give you guys keys so you guys can try it out. Give us some feedback again. Anything you guys think is great or sucks or needs to be fixed or it's awesome. Let us know what you think. And then I'll give you guys are going to give away the keys, not me.
Okay.
You guys are
we will give away the keys.
You guys do the work.
Hey, Nelson, once the February's over, I'm going to have you cancel Elvin's, just because he's going to be fired. So, I mean.
Oh, my God. Warnings.
Make it a temporary one. All right, I got you. No worries.
No, we're kidding. But, hey, Nelson, thank you so much for coming on, really sharing some great knowledge about what's going to be going on in terms of the simulators, because there is definitely a lot of interest. February is going to be a great time for drone racers. Seems like that's going to be the big event to go to, first big event in 2019. And we hope to see everybody there and everybody enjoy your time there. And if you don't have the simulator, definitely join whatever giveaway that we're going to cobble together and start grinding away and try to win that 75K like everybody else.
Yeah, you got a lot of work to do. You might as well still get it now because you got work to do. I'll be honest. You might start and get ready for next year. But I'm just being honest, but it's good to get on it. You definitely get on it now because it's a lot.
It is a lot, but hey, you can always come to just come to Vegas, hang out, and have fun. That's
sure.
what we're about.
Hang out with me, the DRL villain.
Oh God! Can we get a T-shirt that says that for him?
DRL villain. He should walk around with a cape and just walk around like this.
Oh, I'll do it. I will do it.
Oh dear!
I still have my Fat Shark underwear.
Oh yeah, bring that.
No,
bring that.
Hey, my wife bet that I wouldn't wear that to the pool.
Don't give him. Don't give him encouragement, Nelson. You're an evil man.
I'm just. He wants to be the villain. I'm giving him the opportunity to do so. Bring that to Vegas, and it'll be fun. We can watch you be a villain.
There's enough money, I'll streak.
No.
Oh.
There's
all right, we're ending it.
I'll give you money not to do that. No.
Gotta get paid somehow, baby.
No, don't do that, please.
All right, we've gone too far. We've gone to 12, and now we have to cut back. All right. Nelson, thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate all of the time. Definitely want to talk to you again, hopefully out in Vegas. If not, we'll try to have you on periodically for 2019 so you can catch us up to date on what's going on in The Sims, because it seems like, if there's a big announcement, we want to know about it, and we want to be able to share that. So we'll definitely talk again.
For sure, man. Thanks for having me, guys. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays to everyone. So, yeah, I appreciate the love, and I will see you guys out in Vegas. So we'll definitely hang out. Elvin, I'll buy you a drink so you don't streak. Don't do that. I'll try not to. I'll try to keep him sober for you so he doesn't see.
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, there we go. All right, folks, we're done for the week. Thank you so much, and we're done.